having 20 quids or 50 quids to borrow their bedroom window for half hour, and we often look up and there's these great lenses looking at us. It's frustrating sometimes. You want to do that to them.
And, of course, our famous hostelry, the wonderful Queen Victoria, where you're assured of a friendly welcome, says he jokingly. I'm afraid the only drink you're going to get in here is a very dry sherry. We actually use an interior studio to film the Vic scenes.
They're mostly shells. It's quite disappointing when you go behind. It's just like Meccano. But one or two you can actually shoot inside. There's Bridge House over there, which is the hostel. You can get some scenes in there. And the cafe is an interesting example because it's half real in our terms and half shell. So when we want particularly to look out of the door and see reality going on, they can shoot a little bit in there too.
Let's go and see what's on the special board, shall we? Kathy's Caff, land of 1,000 hot dogs. And as you can see, not a great deal. It's all our biggest secrets laid bare. I don't think we're going to get fat in here, do you?
I love EastEnders. I love Tiffany and, what's that horrible band with the bald head that punches everyone? Grant. I love Tiffany and Grant. They're cool.
The reason I liked EastEnders, it was the first time that the East End was portrayed as, it was about families having problems.
Nick, can I have a word?
What you want?
Are you all right? No, I ain't angry or nothing, you know. I just want to know. So...
I think the reason EastEnders took off was because it dealt with things no other drama had dealt with, and also the pace of it.
Here, come on! Come on, don't get it! Come on, hurry up!
One thing you will often hear is the trundle of the train as it takes our commuters from Walford East into the heart of London and up west. But you won't often see it. There's the railway line. They have managed to put a train in with computerised effects on a couple of occasions, but it's very expensive, so you won't see it very often.
We've introduced this webcam, which it's up there, looking out of Ian Beale's bedroom in a tiny little neat hole. And it's got this little beady eye on the square 24 hours a day, so that surfers can tune in at any time they want to see what's going on in Albert Square. In fact, right now, there's probably about 50,000 people watching you and me sort of sit here and have a nice chat in this garden.
This war memorial was featured in a special episode that celebrated 50 years since VE Day. You can see the famous names. There's a couple of the Beales copped it in the Great War. There's a Fowler or two, and a descendant of Dr. Legg. And Sue Buckle. She works on the programme. Half of these names are members of staff. Just a big con.
The characters had to be genuine EastEnders. Now, I'm not a genuine EastEnder.
And I lied and said I came from the East End, when in fact I was born in South London.
I looked up an address in East 8 and told them I was born there, and then yeah, we lived up in a two up and a two down, and my dad was a truck driver and all this old rubbish. And
I just told them the truth, that I came from Islington, and that I wasn't born within the sound of Bow Bells, but I could just about hear them if I hung my head out the window.
And now I understand they've got Italians in it who are not Italian, so you know the whole thing's gone, isn't it?
There's all sorts. There's Taffies, there's Jocks, West Indians, Indians. It's a good mixture.
Perhaps you want to get cod and chips from Beale's Place. That's owned by our resident entrepreneur, Mr. Ian Beale. And he owns the mill machine as well. He's the nearest thing we got to Richard Branson, that man.
The weird thing about me to EastEnders is the person who gets most of the stick is that he's poor old Ian, the businessman. Because you can do anything. You commit arson, you can commit adultery, you can incest even, and you're forgiven.
If you don't mind, Dad, this is private. Oh, excuse me for living.
But try and make a go of yourself in EastEnders and you're toast, aren't you?
And if you've ever given up hope your car will ever pass its MOT, never fear. Because here they are, this is the Arches. This is where it all started for the infamous Mitchell brothers. Hey, put the kettle on, bruv.
Do you know what would be great? They'll never do it, but I would love to be in dirty overalls in Phil Mitchell's garage, jacking up a Ford Escort and taking off the tyre and then spinning around and changing the carburettor and doing it all perfectly, and him saying, what a good mechanic.
So I'll pick up at 3 o'clock and it'll be fixed, yeah?
Job done, Gov.
I don't believe him.
Imagine me, Dale as a garage mechanic in EastEnders. It'd be fabulous.
You think you'd go for it?
Well, it's worth a try, isn't it?
I used to love EastEnders. Honestly, I didn't want to miss. I was a real fan. And when Den and Angie were in, and I used to be in Grange Hill when I was little, and I remember going over to the restaurant and Leslie Grantham was sitting in there and we were all just like, he's so famous, we've got to go and sit with him and have our lunch. And I remember we was sort of sneaking our way over and he let us sit there with him, you know, and he had a bit of lunch, he was talking to us, and I'll never forget that.
Now, if it's villains you're after, I suggest you go and have a word with Fat Harry. Get some distinctly dodgy types in this place.
Funny, he said the same about you. I didn't see Den as a villain. I saw Den as some sort of very misunderstood chap who's sort of unfortunate victim of his wife, really.
We started the dialogue between Den and Angie, and Leslie stopped and went, yes! And I knew then, I could feel it, that it just clicked.
Decided to spend Christmas here after all, eh?
No, Ange, I've been shopping to get you a little something for Christmas.
Oh, sorry, Den, I was only winding you up.
I think you're going to like this. It's a very nice present. Glass fibre, filler, sandpaper discs, sealer and brown cellulose paint. Come in very handy with your new hobby, because if you're going to take up stock car racing, darling, you've got to learn how to repair them after you smash them up.
I walked straight into him, didn't I?
Oh, right, you're
We used to go into that Queen Vic and the sparks would fly between them, and the rows and that were going on, and it was just such good characters.
They were talking about them in the bus queues, they were talking about them in the banks, they were talking about them in the shops, and I'm sure that's what one of the main factors that launched the show into orbit.
But it scares me. I don't think I could keep up this performance 24 hours a day.
Oh, you could keep this performance up for a lifetime.
It was played for real. If Angie had thrown a glass at him and it missed him, he'd say, careful, that could have hit me. You know, it's sort of things that people say in real life.
A lot of people used to come up to me and say, good for you, Angie. They loved the fact that she would fall to bits because he hurt her so much. But then that would step in and they loved that. And I remember men used to come up to me and say, I love it when you get angry.
Look, I'm not Magnus Magnuson. Go and see a doctor.
I don't need to see a doctor.
Then what are you talking about?
I'm not talking about anything, am I? I'm just standing here.
People used to say to me, I know someone just like you. And you think, you should get out more often.
Grantham, what can I say about him? I mean, as a younger man, I'm not saying you aren't now, Leslie, but as a younger man, he was extremely handsome. Women absolutely adored him.
I couldn't walk down the street. If I'd have farted, I'd have been accused of causing earthquakes in Krakatoa.
He was the, if I can say it, the bastard that women love. He represented, you know, that horrible guy that you can't help loving.
You know, he'd drag her upstairs and you just know they were going to have a fantastic time making.
I think there's a fault in a woman's character somewhere because they love those type of men.
This, my sweet, is a letter from my solicitor telling you that your husband has filed a petition for divorce.
Den coming through the door with the divorce thing on Christmas. I mean, it's so funny, like, it's your Christmas present, you know. That was clever, that was funny.
I wanted to actually put him in a Christmas cracker, but they wouldn't have that, or stuff it in the turkey's backside, and as she carved into it, it came out.
Happy Christmas, Anne.
She was a part of a lifetime. I remember thinking when Anthony Hopkins did Silence of the Lambs, there was a moment where an actor and a part went perfect. That was me and Angie Watts.
Everybody loved them. They were Mr. and Mrs. EastEnders, without a doubt.
I've been a fan of the street since I was about 4, watching it at home with parents, grandparents, etc. Growing older, just watching it more and more myself, and until eventually it's taken over my life.
I work up in Manchester one day a week and I see the actors, and you've got all these people waiting outside who know every single detail of that person's life, and they know everybody on the street. And they're lovely people, but they're actually in another world.
Well, this is where we stand. Obviously, this is Granada's private property, so nobody's allowed beyond these gates. But as you can see just at the back, that's Elliot's corner shop. So the street's not that far away. Here it all happens, and there's the reality just up there. I haven't missed an episode for 11 years, although I did miss quarter of an hour one night because it was on earlier, but I did catch up with it. Somebody had videoed it somewhere along the line. This is Nikki here. She's one of the fanatics of the street. Proud to say, eh, Nick?
Yeah, I come down every day. But like the odd occasion, I'll go other places as well.
Nikki has a fantasy with the new men that come in. She jumps from one to another, don't you, love?
Yeah.
It's just great to see the cast come in and go and they stop to speak to you, and you feel as if you're part of the family, you know, you feel as if you are with the street.
Yes.
Simon,
So what's your
wherever
name?
It's Andrew.
Right, okay. And we've got everybody's. How many
Everybody.
years?
I've been coming down here for 10 years.
10 years. How often?
Once a fortnight. I live in North Wales, so...
Oh,
it's,
do you?
I make a 110-mile trip, usually once a fortnight.
Yeah? Well, at this rate, you won't have any marriage left to discuss.
When I was first into the street, I had to be here all the time, so 2 or 3 times a week I was driving down. But now that I've got more or less everybody's autograph, I just come down every fortnight.
I look through their autograph books, they've got everything there, and they'll have the same autograph over and over again, and you just think they are locked into another world.
I'd like to wish you all the best in the
Thank
street
you.
and hope everything
Yeah.
turns out well. I know the cast, I know crew, the office staff. I more or less know everybody to do with the street, and I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of them for making my life so happy. Oh. Maybe she wants a push.
There's a very small proportion of soap fans who are true addicts. I get a letter every week from a lady who's on hunger strike. She sends me the printout from Boots from the, you know, weighing scale, and she's on hunger strike, you know, until I give her fan club addresses and things like that. Now, I think she's unhinged.
I would describe myself as a soap professor. I watch all the soaps, just the ones. It can be as little as 10 hours a week, it can be as much as like 28. I also catalogue all the details that happen in each episode, keep files on all the actors and actresses, been to the locations, met many of the current stars, and absolutely love soaps.
Why are the British so obsessed with soaps?
Maybe it's simply the fact that we do them pretty well.
It's probably because we're quite nosy as a nation.
My favourite piece of soap memorabilia has to be this. It's a letter that was used on screen by Grant Mitchell. It's his divorce letter from his solicitor, and a friend of mine who worked for EastEnders at the time sent it to me, and I treasure it.
What amazes me is how do you keep up with the storyline?
I managed to keep track of all the soaps by using 6 videos and 5 tellies. You can program your recorder to tape the things as and when they're on, but it was a bit of a nightmare with the World Cup, and soaps were moving all over the place with special episodes and everything. They should not do this to our soaps.
Videoing soaps. How sad can I be? Yes, I do.
Yes, I do tape things sometimes.
And on the rare occasion someone does ring, I go, hang on a minute, I've got to put a tape in the machine.
What admission.
If you become a soap addict, you spend so much of your time watching soaps, you actually spend less of your time meeting real people and interacting with reality. What's very appealing about the relationship that people develop with soap characters on television screen is that the relationship isn't a demanding one on you. I mean, you don't have to be particularly socially skilled to enter into this relationship. I mean, nothing more is required of you than occasionally turning the television on. And I do think that is worrying.
I'm not obsessed with the street as it's got a hold on me, but there is an obsession with the characters and the cast, and just standing here, you know, it's just unbelievable. It's like winning the lottery.
People always think that I'm constantly sat there in front of a television watching soaps all the time, and that's definitely not me. I have a life. I have a very wide circle of friends, and I think they think I'm a bit loopy, but they're always the first to be on the phone to me after an episode of Coronation Street to say, well, is Hayley going to come back to Weatherfield, or whatever.
Have you anything to say?
Been a drug addict and was a lesbian.
I shot a boy because I mistook him for a rabbit.
I like this street and I want to stay here.
I was just going in to discuss the future, and the future was bleak.
I didn't do any of it.
break with our sensational Viagra Readers Survey. Take a break with our expose on how shop assistants mislead us. Take a break and win a Renault Clio or a supermarket sweep. If life's a juggling act, take a break. Out now.
To get the best out of Honda's VTEC engine, you need to put in a little effort. Sequential Sport Shift. Technology you can enjoy from Honda.
Have you gone utterly butterly?
Katie? Kate? You haven't said much since your mum and I split up.
Well, I'm all right. It's you I'm worried about.
Me?
Well, yeah, you and Mum. Think about the future, Dad. Who do you think's going to support you when you get older?
Yes, but things are...
The kitty's almost empty. You need to make separate plans. You're two families now. And you know what, Dad? You're going to have to buy me a Christmas present yourself this year.
These days, it's up to you. Pearl's local advisors are committed to your personal welfare.
Cheery corn, cheery oats, cheery rice and wheat. Cheery 4-grain Cheerios, cheery good to eat. They're nutritious and delicious Cheerios, so good to eat.
It takes 4 whole grains to make the one and only Cheerios.
Cheerios, so good to eat.
For a rich, replenishing moisturiser that melts into your skin, take Vaseline Intensive Care of Yourself.
Button up your overcoat when the wind is free. Take good care of yourself, you belong to me. Oh, eat an apple every day, get to bed by 3. Take good care of yourself, you belong to me.
We will be happy to calculate your tax, but don't forget to return your completed forms within the next few days.
How well do these new Persil tablets clean, then?
They get the Bow Sports things lovely and clean.
But all washing powders do that, don't they?
Oh, yeah. And how many dirty sports kits have you washed recently?
Persil's new tablets. A great wash, a great deal easier.
Brit soaps tend to be quite gritty reflection of really morbid life, and you kind of watch them think, my God, if I lived there, I'd kill myself. And I think the good thing about Home and Away is that you watch it and go, wow, if I lived there, I'd just sit at the beach all day.
You know we belong together, you and I forever and ever.
When I was younger, I used to be mad on Neighbours and Home and Away, but I think everyone was. When I was at school, it was just the thing that everybody watched.
The kids started watching them, so suddenly our top 3 then had to make it more accessible to teenagers, you know, children, that sort of thing.
Maybe it's opened the eyes up of the English producers a little to realise that there is a very strong younger audience that need to be entertained.
It's based mainly around children that are either foster children or children on their own for some reason or another.
Okay, quiet, thanks. Here we go. Recording this time.
Kids come into the show with broken wings, they fly away, you know, fixed and cured, and then you bring another batch of kids and you repeat all the same storylines but with different characters.
And cut.
Good.
I've got to go and we'll do a replay.
What's very unrealistic about Australian soaps is how attractive all the young people are.
It seems very synthetic. It's sort of a bit like Baywatch, and they're all running along the beach in brightly coloured clothes, and it's just like, nah, it's not for me.
They asked me to wear Speedos once to run into the water.
And I said, look, I'm sorry, you know, you're not going to get me in Speedos in front of 40 million people. And they go, nah, man, go on, you've got a great butt. And as I was running in the surf, they slipped off. And so there's this shot of me on some video camera, who knows where, of just this me naked with this butt just running into the ocean. I was going, no, man.
It's a lifestyle that we can only dream about, that being with your boyfriend and running down with your surfboard like in Home and Away and everything. So I think it's not a fantasy world to them, but it is to a lot of British kids.
The UK's very cold, isn't it? So, I mean, the beach, the sun, the sand.
You've got sun, sand, beach.
Sand, surf, sunshine.
The fresh air and the blue sky.
The freedom.
Beautiful blue water.
The tropical island most English people think it is.
It definitely, I think, shows the country in its most favourable light. Of course, the whole of Australia, as we know, is not like that.
It is quite cold in the water. It's probably about 16 degrees in the water. It's actually warmer in there than out here, especially with the wind. So when you're in there, it's all right, but it's when you get out that you get cold.
I can remember many occasion I've stood next to the water at Palm Beach with a singlet and shorts on, literally like this.
The hair, you know, and the makeup's blown off and all the clothes are horizontal to the body.
And then wardrobe come over to you and like rub your arms and say, try not to look cold, try not to look cold. It's all the appeal, you know, you've got to be warm, it's summer. It's like, yeah, okay, sun's shining, sun's shining.
Everywhere you go, you always take the weather. Take the weather with you.
We do location 3 days a week and studio 4 days a week and rehearse 2 days a week.
It's like a meat factory, basically. It's like straight through, roll over.
I mean, it's soap, you know, you can't go into the thing too deeply. And there isn't time enough anyway.
It's very quiet, everyone. Marilyn, maybe you should go upstairs and rest for a while.
Oh, I tried that, Donald. It didn't do any good.
Well, I think you should try again. At least lie down. All this stress can't be doing you or the baby much good.
Oh, I suppose you're right. Just the tiredness gets you. Like, I got up 4 o'clock this morning, which is not very glamorous.
It's exhausting when you are working 14, 15 hours a day, and as much as I can say, gosh, the workload's really heavy, I can then turn around and say, well, you know, I had the last 2 days off. I'm working for 2 hours tomorrow. I'm worked for 2 hours today. So the times you don't have a storyline, you're barely working.
I mean, some weeks I only have to say 2 coffees, thanks, Ailsa, you know, that's all I have to say.
You saw what I was about. You saw how personal it was. Why did you keep watching it? I had it hidden in my room in the bottom drawer so Rachel wouldn't find it.
You may start to think to yourself, gosh, I wish something, you know, why can't I have a close encounter? You know, isn't it time I tripped over a murdered body or something?
Get out. Get out and stay out!
Post-traumatic soap disorder. I made it up, but it's like if you have too many awful, sensational things happening, it's like you numb to it. You know, there's only so many affairs and, you know, dreadful things like Brookside Close. If you were an estate agent in Brookside Close, could you sell a house? Oh, yes, there's been a plague, there's been several sieges. Yes, the body was buried under the patio there. Even the dog got machine gunned by the drug addicts. You know, excuse me, too much can happen.
Okay.
What happened last week?
Last week, Ailsa and the gun story. Alf has a very near miss, as we know, and they have a very big, nasty scene that Kylie gets to write.
I played a sort of a schoolgirl vixen on Home and Away, so I was kind of always up to mischief, and I actually suffered from anorexia and was a lesbian and went on to date nearly every character in the entire Summer Bay.
Been a drug addict, bashed by my father, molested on a beach, stolen my best friend's boyfriend, slept with my other best friend's boyfriend, fell pregnant, lived with him. He had a brain tumour. I think that's where we're up to.
Natural disasters and deaths and, you know, accidents and there's a lot of hideous stuff that happens.
There was one storyline where I shot a boy because I mistook him for a rabbit. I found it a little difficult to get my head around that one.
It's not as if she feels that she's come out of this and nothing can happen to her. It's more like, well, the worst has happened and I don't want to live my life in fear and sit around and wait for something else to go wrong.
I encourage slightly more outrageous storylines wherever possible. I think that everybody has to throw any idea they have on the table and we all talk about it. Doesn't matter how stupid it is, because out of that might come something that's fantastic.
Deirdre Ann Rashid, the jury has found you guilty by a unanimous verdict of all the counts against you. You ensnared a vulnerable married man, then coolly and systematically exploited him for your own material gain.
I forget where I was. I was somewhere like really weird, like South Africa. And I bought the English papers and I saw Deirdre Barlow on the front page and I thought, what's Anne Kirkbride doing on the front page of the tabloids in South Africa? And then I read it, I thought, I'm missing the best Coronation Street ever.
Have you anything to say?
I didn't do any of it.
Take the defendant down, will you?
It was just a story. We didn't really know where it was going. You know, we didn't plot it out. You know, Deirdre's going to get involved with this awful man and going to go to prison.
Is that how it's got on in Coronation Street? You mean Deirdre went? Deirdre? How did she cope without a hairdryer?
It just started off with someone saying, a friend of mine has gone out with this guy and he says he's a pilot. And then she found out that he's not. But the thing is, he's a compulsive liar.
Everybody in the street was going, oh, Deirdre's got a new man. He's an airline pilot. He's suave. He's soigné. Oh, isn't he gorgeous? This man was the plainest looking man I've ever seen on British television. And I would not believe that he was some sort of heartthrob, even for Deirdre.
When the whole thing with Deirdre Rashid and Free the Weatherfield One and all of that was going on, it reminded me very much of when Deirdre was deciding between Ken and Mike Baldwin. What a choice between the two.
She never blinks, does she, Deirdre? Have you noticed that? Never blinks. Do you know why? Because she thinks if she blinks, Ken Barlow's going to be back in her bed.
I thought that Free the Weatherfield One was a good joke. And I thought there was a lot of pompous nonsense talked about people taking it too seriously, because I don't believe anybody took it seriously at all.
Deirdre was an innocent woman, and this is what's important. She was freed at the end of the day because she was innocent, and we saw her innocence, and it was proven, and Deirdre was innocent.
OK, she was innocent of that, but she's bored us rigid for years, hasn't she, with her whining and her bloody neck pulsating and the big glasses coming at you. Dear oh, I think she should be, for her own safety, should be locked up.
The nation got behind this ridiculous Free Deirdre Rashid nonsense. Even the Prime Minister commenting on it. I mean, that just shows the power of soap operas.
Tony Blair would comment on anything. Tony Blair, Mr. Bean, would comment on anything.
What perhaps the Prime Minister was expressing, in fact, was at least solidarity with what people felt was important.
But he didn't comment on the government. Do something instead of releasing the Weatherfield One.
I'd rather talk to Tony Blair in a pub and have a drink with him. Like, it's Coronation Street we're talking about. It gets too serious when it makes all the papers.
Shouldn't we watch television? The Prime Minister, what's wrong with the man?
I thought it was scandalous that more politicians were willing to comment about a fictional character's situation than real people who've got real problems.
Having said that, it did reflect true life, because then suddenly all these women came out in the News of the World or whatever, admitting that that had happened to them. You know, they were duped by somebody.
It's a worry, really, that we as a nation are that taken in by such unimportant things as soaps.
The only constant in a soap is the sense of location. Everything else is up for grabs.
We've had 26 producers on Coronation Street.
When a producer comes on to Coronation Street and takes over, there is always that fear.
Are they an axeman?
So I think everyone lives in fear of a new producer.
Peter? I had thought that the street had a tendency to be rather cosy, rather complacent, and it was getting almost middle class. It is, after all, a cobbled street in Salford, and we wanted to get back to the street's roots.
I was really upset when I read in the papers that Peter Baldwin, who played Derek Wilton, had been axed. He'd been a favourite character of mine for like almost 25 years.
The shop has been here since 1980, and I used to work at this shop occasionally when I wasn't acting, and then I was offered the chance to buy it.
Hello, Benjamin Pollock's toy shop.
So I'm a businessman, a retailer, and a collector, all in one. don't think I've grown up. Peter Pan was the first play I ever saw in the theatre, and I think I've always thought I was Peter Pan. I started work in Coronation Street in 1976 and left it in 1997, so 21 years. I went in to see the producer. It was his first day in the office. I went in thinking that he was going to go through us all one by one. I was sort of top of the alphabetical list. And I was just going in to discuss the future. So, well, I was. That's what we were doing. And the future was bleak.
I thought it was really sad when Derek was axed and the way that they did it, and I mean the actor himself was awful sad.
Well, I thought it was unnecessary to kill me for a start. I mean, it precludes any chance of my coming back unless I come out of a shower or something. So it was all a dream. I think my death was to do with ratings, because they'd been sinking a bit towards the end of the previous year. And I think the producers were asked to do something dramatic, and they couldn't do anything more dramatic than kill off what was one of the popular characters.
You're not fit to be on the road. What's this thing supposed to be? That's a paperclip. What's it look like?
How could you not love a man that drives around Weatherfield in a green Vauxhall Nova with a giant paperclip on the roof? Should never have killed him off. Big mistake.
Here, hang on, you! Look what you've done!
I was rather concerned because it was a heart attack. I was then just coming up to being 64 years old, at which age my father died. And I thought, oh, this is a bit near the knuckle, this.
People really grieve when you kill off a character.
And you know, after a death like that, a lot of flowers arrived. The studio, people send wreaths and things.
You know, these are extended members of our family.
I was delighted to see Derek Wilton go.
I was actually cheered. I thought, yes, come and act a few more. Get rid of Gale. Please get rid of Gale Platt. I mean, I was very upset when he didn't do that.
I doubt Gail would thank you for that.
I thought Derek Wilton and his garden gnome had far outlived their usefulness. I think actually the garden gnome incident was the worst bit of Coronation Street ever.
But don't you see the life in them? I mean, each one has got its own personality. I can see all sorts of things in that.
The gnome thing went on too long. I didn't really like that. But I did feel very sorry, and I think it was inevitable that Mavis had to go too, and that was a real loss.
I think poor old Mavis is out there, sitting out there all on her own going, well, I don't really know.
Relax, Mavis. The rest of our lives start here, as they say.
Brian Park was very brave killing off Derek, but he was inundated by complaints. In fact, his own relatives wouldn't speak to him at one point and says, we can't go down the British Legion up in Scotland because, you know, people were rowing with him. There were social pariahs.
Brian, even though he's going, a storyline to My Exit. So he told me this the other day. I don't know what it is. I truly don't know what it is. And he won't tell me. I said, oh, please tell me, Brian. He said, no, you'll have to wait. You don't go with a whimper. So we'll wait and see.
I bet you in years to come, he's going to be remembered as the guy who created the Battersbys, rather than the guy who killed off Derek Wilton.
Do you want out fetching? No, I do not want out fetching. So just try and keep your thieving little hands to yourself for 5 minutes.
We meant shopping.
When the Battersbys first came on screen, everybody was going, get rid of them, they're no good, they're this, that and the other. And, you know, it was almost like questions were raised in the house.
I loathe the Battersbys.
They're not quite as cartoon-like as they were when they first started, so they are growing on me, but I wouldn't like to go out for a drink with them.
I think it was right to cull some people. I think it was right from a commercial point of view to move it on to another generation. But when I want a Salford edition of Neighbours, I'll ask for one.
We always get blamed for everything. It were our fault flipping First World War broke out.
And therefore I don't feel as well disposed towards it as I did 10, 15, 20 years ago.
There was a huge communal reaction against the Battersbys. I wanted them to hit the ground running and make a huge impact, and that they did.
It took quite a few months, I think, for the whole family, as we got sort of more and more scenes and work with all sorts of different people, to be able to bring out some sort of human qualities in the characters.
They're real, you know, that's how families communicate most of the time. They don't listen, do they? Well, ours never did, you know, you just let off steam and shout at each other because these are the people you can be at your realest with. Now get upstairs to your room out of his sight! No!
I want to talk to your father. Now get lost!
I won't! It's my house as much as yours!
Toy of the face on that. My God. There you go. She's a little... And Janice, the mum, she's great and all. And she looks like Zippy out of Rainbow, doesn't she?
When you go out, you know, in real life, people say, oh, you're not actually that fat, are you? Or, oh, you've got lipstick on. You know, they can't believe it.
It's doing its job. Everybody's talking about it. They're there, they'll stay there, love them or not. They're the people you love to hate. It works. Clever casting, clever characters.
I like this street, and I want to stay here. We're staying here!
If you take Ken Barlow as a classic Coronation Street character, okay, born in 1939 at number 3. 1962, he marries his first wife, and they move to number 9. They have twins, little Peter and Susan. It's all very sweet. But they're only there a few years, and then his wife electrocutes herself and starts a fire which guts the whole masonette. So Ken and the twins move back into number 3, which is the house that he was born in. He doesn't like that very, very much. So he moves into number 1 with Albert Tatlock, and then in 1973 he marries Janet Reed, and she doesn't like it in number 1, so they rent number 11. And in 1977 his wife Janet kills herself, and then in 81 he marries Deirdre. Uncle Albert dies, then Ken has an affair, he's thrown out of the house by Deirdre. He then buys back number 1 Coronation Street, the old family home, and if we take it through for the next 20 years, he's probably going to live in every other house.
The happy
and marriage
couple
and marriage.
at the weddings from hell next Thursday, 9 ITV.
Bendel and Parry go far out.
These drugs are mind-altering. They're nasty, nasty, nasty things.
In search of drugs and the drug culture.
I'm not convinced, mate.
They talk to the experts.
Drugs are dangerous. Long-term use of cannabis causes psychosis.
And take in the Amsterdam drug scene.
Culture is very important around any drug use.
Bendel and Parry Unleashed, tonight at 10:45 on ITV.
So, why don't I jump aboard and keep you company, eh? You care for a ride, then?
Not really, thank you.
I see you like the really rich.
I like Kenko really rich, yes. It's not only rich, it has depth and superb taste. Ciao.
Fair dues. I'll catch you next time. Lovely evening, ladies.
Kenko really rich.
You want to know about bikes? Get Essential Super Bike. New, different, total. How they ride, how they rate, what they cost. Essential Super Bike. Every chain-snapping, knee-down, redlining, cock-swapping, throttle-nailing, mile-blasting, razor-sharp detail. Engines, technology, performance. The best, the worst, the latest, the greatest. Bike by bike, sheet by sheet, week by week. Always updated. Essential Super Bike.
What do you give a dog that appears to have everything? Baker's Complete. It's full of everything dogs need to make them happy. Vitamins, minerals, cereals, and lots of tasty, moist, meaty chunks for them to really get their teeth into. Baker's makes your dog's life complete.
Vodafone understands the importance of your words, which is why we continually improve and strengthen our network to ensure your words are heard far and wide. How far and wide? Put it this way, no one covers more of the UK and abroad, and that's the way we aim to keep it. Strong words? You bet. For the mobile phone network with unbeaten coverage, the word is Vodafone.
Lads, all drinking creamy Worthington. But why are our heads so full of boring old rubbish? Because otherwise your lad's head would be empty. And in order to fill it, he'd become interested in aerobics. and even knitting. So he's waiting for a Worthington when he spots a nice drop stitch over weave hem and misses his turn at the bar. Disaster! And that is why a lad's head is so full of rubbish. Worthington, it's a man thing.
The underworld has a new enemy.
Have you been spying on me, Inspector?
Society has a new challenge.
Do you not realise how serious this is?
Get out! An outsider.
There's been another murder, Mama.
Fighting an inner circle.
She as good as accused me of being the murderer.
Of sinister scandal.
They are dead. Their throats cut.
An all-new Inspector Pitt mystery. The Cater Street Hangman. Next Wednesday at 8 on ITV.
In 30 minutes, the main regional developments this Thursday evening are reported in West Country News. But first, the leading stories worldwide are outlined now in News at 10.